So precisely, yesterday we saw about the default empty method, and that was the last thing we did yesterday, right? So today we are going to basically look at certain other functions and operators, grouping operators. So it only has one particular operator type of method called as group by method. That is what we're going to see out here. So the group by operator is used to group in the list of the collection items based on a specified value of the key.
Right.
And it has a collection of I grouping interface. You can see that. So important thing to understand is that it's used to group in list of collection items based on specified value of the keys. And it returns what? It returns the interface called as I grouping interface. This, the group by method in LINQ is the same as the SQL group by statement. If you know SQL, you'll be able to relate to it. Hmm.
Yeah.
Syntax, you have something like this. You have this is the data source, which can be a collection or array. It can be anything. It can be data source from SQL or from XML, whatever it is. Dot group by method, and you can pass them a lambda argument out here. The group by locations, it is saying that. So this sum syntax, we are grouping this particular object items of the collection based on student's location. And this will return what? I grouping interface with a key value here. So let's see an example of this. I hope you have got all the codes and all, Paul, which I've sent yesterday.
I have them. I haven't installed the on my virtual machine yet.
Okay, as you have Visual Studio at your end?
Yeah, I have it, but it's on my virtual machine.
All right.
Yeah. Because I have a Mac, that's all.
Okay. And the group by method is as this 33rd part. So we'll see out here. So I'm going to make this as a startup project. And let's open this. Now, remember one particular Mac, Paul, is that I am actually creating a project of console application.
Okay.
Console application.NET framework. That is what I'm creating every time. Okay, for at least showing you links.
Yeah.
These programs. All right. Now, this is where I'm using the group by method right now. Now you can see that there is a student class. And the student class has a name property, which is a get and set property. So you can set the name and get the name. Gender also is a get and set. Location also get and set. All the three are of is returning a string value. All right. Now I have another class called as the program class. You can see it out here. Okay. Yeah. Now this is where I'm creating a list of students. Okay. And when I create a list of students, I'm basically creating 5 students out here, object of 5 students inside this list. And I'm defining or setting up the value for the name property, gender property, and location. All right. Now I want to group by these students by their location, for example. So I've just used, this is the data source right now, dot group by method. So if you put dot, all the methods will come automatically. Dot, if you put the group by method will come. You can see this.
Yeah.
So all the methods that you're using, it comes after the dot usage. Okay. The group by, and in the group by argument, I'm passing on a lambda expression. So lambda expression basically, as we know, is an anonymous function. So I'm passing x dot location. That means I'm grouping by location out here. Okay. So I will be grouping by location. So there are couple of locations. You have Chennai, that's one of the metros in India, southern part of India. Bangalore, it's also southern part. Vizag, it a port city in the southern part, and this is in the central India. So I will be grouping based on these locations right now. Now, the student one is the variable. If you look at group by, it returns, you can see, uh, it returns a I grouping interface, which actually is inherited by I enumerable interface. You can see this.
Oh, I see.
Okay. You can see enumerable I grouping. See out here?
Yeah.
It returns I grouping interface with the key value pair, T key and T source, which is inherited by I enumerable interface. So there is always a inheritance concept. If you understand the basic concepts, there is inheritance between interfaces. Interface also go for a inheritance concept. So there will be a child interface which will be implementing interface. Now, all these jargons has been defined by the author of these languages, and that is where people get confused that what are these jargons all about. It's nothing but uh, interface. The term, the jargon has been used to define rather, I would say, kind of a boundary. If you want to get inside the boundary, please follow the rules of the boundary. So whatever is rules are there, please follow that. That is what an interface is. All right. So interfaces do have a relationship that an interface can be a child of another interface. That's always possible. So if you understand it out here, the group by method returns I grouping interface, which is inherited by I enumerable interface. All right.
Yeah.
So let's basically iterate over this particular object right now. It's a reference variable of I grouping or I enumerable, whatever you want to say. So this is for each loop. Okay. The first there is it's a nested for each loop. If you look at the first for each loop is basically going to understand it. This is the variable in the student object out here. And this basically function here is to count the number of students. So this will give me the keys. Okay. This will give me the keys. It will print out all the keys out here. Okay. And this will basically give me the values. The values will be the based on the location. So location, whatever is the location, based on the location, the name of the student will come. So this inner for loop is going to basically throw out the key part. The key part is dependent on the location. So location, grouping by location and the name of the student. So for example, if you look out here, there are two students which belongs to this location and one student each from Bangalore, Vizag and Nagpur. So if I run this, I will basically get a grouping behavior. So let's do control F5. And I can see grouping. So you can see Chennai out here, this guy. And again, Chennai, you have this guy. So Chennai is basically the first location. And you have two people from Chennai, AK Tyagi and Rohini. Bangalore is another location. And this is the outer for loop. Chennai, Bangalore, that you see Vizag, Nagpur is basically the outer for loop. And let me also tell you, don't get confused. I have a query interface also. So let me bifurcate this coding behavior of this result with the start. That's easier. All right. So upper part you can see. So you have these are the keys. And these are the values of the keys based on their location. So this is a grouping by location right now. This location has only one person, Vizag has one person, Nagpur has one person. That's what it is showing. So I hope I'm clear. This is simply like your group by method or the group by syntax that we use in SQL also, if
Yeah.
you know. Okay. The same procedure can be performed by the query syntax. So that was kind of a method syntax that we used out here. Okay, method syntax out here. And this is kind of a query syntax that we're using. Same list of students. And then this is where we're applying the query syntax. So we're going to apply the link queries to group the information of the student according to the location. So link query starts from takes a variable std, okay, in object student, okay, object of the student list, object of the student list. It's object student one out here. So let me change this. Okay. Group std declare variable by location. You can see this. So from std is basically a variable declare in this particular data source. Group, use the group keyword. Group students by the location, by std dot location. Okay, location is a property. You can see this, the grouping by. So this is the query syntax for it. And then use the same for each loop, which will be a nested for each loop. This will give you the number of counts of the locations, and so those will be the keys also. The location will be keys and the count of it. And the inner for loop will actually give you student name based on location. So it's grouping of the students based on location. The same thing what we've done. And if you're running it, it will see the same kind of result. Result is not going to change. You can see that. Hope this is clear, right?
Yeah, it's straightforward.
All right. Okay. Now let's go to join operators. The join operators, it's like SQL again.
Mhm.
And that is what I was telling you, that link is a common language, a common syntax which can be applied for any kind of data sources, whether it is a database or XML or memory objects, like your collections or list. So the join operators are used to join two or more list or collection and get the match data from the collection based on specified condition. So we have left inner join, we have, then we have left join or left outer join, whatever we can say. And then we have the group join, and then we have the cross join. Okay. These are the join operators that can be used using the link syntax. Behavior and functionality of the join operator are same as SQL joins. You can see that. Okay. And left outer join is also called as left join. So somewhere in somebody might use left join. That means the left outer join. You have a cross join and a group join. Now by using these joins, you can get the elements from both the collections, so more than two collections, I would say, also based on specific expressions or specified expressions. So we'll see each one of them one at a time. Okay, and this is a simple table that I have described to describe what does the inner join do, what does the left outer join do, cross join does, and a group join does. So if you look at out here, the inner join returns elements from the collections which satisfy the specified expression. Okay. Now, it returns elements from the collection which satisfy the specified expression. So we'll see it. Left outer join returns all the elements from the left hand side collection, left side collection, and matching the elements with the right side collection. Okay. So it will return all the elements, okay, from the left hand side collection. The left side collection will match with the items in the right hand side collection. So those will be part of the left outer join. Cross join returns Cartesian products of elements in the collections. Cartesian products of the elements. Okay, and a group join will be joining clause with a into expression is called a group join. So a join clause with the into expression, INTU, that's why I've given in double quote, single quotes, is called a group join. So we'll see each one of them. Okay. So first, let's understand the link inner join. The inner join is used to return only the match records or elements from the collection based on specified conditions. Match records element from the collection based on specified conditions. So here the syntax of the inner join, you can see that you have from this data source, from D in this particular data source, join E in object EMP. This is another object actually. So object EMP is precisely an object inside this object department. So from D in the object department, join E in the, so probably these are two different data sources. It's a join keyword use. So from D in object department, join E in object, what do you call, employee, on this condition where you're trying to say that D has a column called as department ID, which equals to E's department ID column. So you're basically joining based on the column department ID, which is present in both these objects, object department and object employee. And then select new. So give the employee name with this name property and give the department name with the department name property. Now from the above syntax, we're trying to get the elements from these two objects collections based on matching the department ID column from both these objects. Okay, that's inner join. Let's see that. It's like your SQL joins. So inner join is out here. Make this as a startup project and then open this. All right. So here there are two classes, employee class, you see, which has three properties of employee ID with the get and set property, name and department. Department ID and name are basically department ID and employee ID are integer type, whereas name is also string type. And you have a department class where you have department ID returns the integer type and department name property which returns string. It's a get and set method. So if you look at both these classes have one property which is common, department ID. Okay, just to give you a glimpse of it. Now there is a program class. In the main method, I'm creating a list of departments. So I'm creating three objects of the department class. And I'm setting the value of the departments. So if you look at the department class, it has two properties, department ID and department name. And that is the reason I've set up these two values. ID 1, 2, and 3. And in the same fashion, the class called employee has three properties, employee ID, name, and department ID. So I'm creating a list of employees. And I'm creating 5 objects of the employee class, and I'm setting the value for employee ID, department, and name. Because these are the three properties of the department employee class. Once we do that, then the link query is applies. This is applies to fetch information of the employee name and department name. Here we mapped the employee with the department and stored the result in the variable result. So we are getting the employee name and the department name from both the collections where we have mapped the employees with the department, how we have mapped it from D in the department. Okay, join E in the employee list. And on what columns? On the columns, you can look at these columns. These properties are common between department class whose list is created and list of employee which has again the department ID. So I'm joining based on these columns of these two objects. Now select what? Select new employee name and department. So I am joining based on the department ID. Okay. So based on the department ID, I'm joining it. So if you look at certain people, certain employees, they have different employee IDs, but department ID is common. For example, department one, ID one belongs to these two guys. The employee IDs are different. And department ID I belongs to software department. Department ID 2 belongs to these two guys. Okay, department ID 2 belongs to finance department. And employee ID 1 does not have any department ID. I may not give department ID. I may not use one property. That's fine. That is completely dependent upon me. And to show you this joining behavior, that is why. So you're joining by department ID column, which is or property which is present in both the classes whose list is created out here. So let's run it, and so the result will have the join result, and you will iterate over this result and print out the employee name and its department name. Okay, let's run this. So have I made this a startup project? Yes, I've done this. Control F5. So this is the result that you're getting, and you can basically see what is the result when you join by the department ID of these two lists. So this is what you're getting. Okay, so this is the result, employee name and department name you're getting. So if you look at Akshay Tyagi and Vaishali Tyagi, somebody's name, they belong to the software department. Department ID 1 belongs to software department. So these two names are coming. Then department 2, ID 2 has these two employees, which belongs to finance department. So finance department name is coming, Arpita Rai and Satish Alabala. And since the fifth employee doesn't have any department ID, so that joint result is not. That is the reason I left it blank as far as the department ID is concerned. Now, if I make it as, let's say, this person also belongs to department ID 2, they
Right.
will be, obviously, so you will see there is a change out here, and you will see that this person, Madhav Sai, also belongs to department ID 2, which is nothing but finance. So finance will have 3 now. So let's run this. You can see this.
Okay.
All right. I purposely made it blank so that you can understand what is the inner joint are.
So whenever I was learning joined, I always like to verbalize what the queries mean in English. So in this case, I would say find all the employees that belong to a department.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes
Find
sense.
out the employees, which employee names, which belongs to department ID 1, 2, because you're joining by department ID.
Right.
Yeah.
I've noticed you didn't use the method syntax.
No, I've not used the method syntax. It's very, very difficult. I told you that when you have complex scenarios, queries, okay, this can be considered as a complex query join. It's better to use query syntax instead of the method syntax.
Got it.
Okay, so let's see this. Okay, next part will be your the left outer join. So left outer join is also called as left join. It is used to return all the records elements from the left hand side collection, which matches the elements from the right hand side collection. So you have these two entities out here. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So what are matching from the left hand side? 1, 2, 3, 4 are present in this. So that will be the common result of left outer join. The left hand side collection is taken and will say the items are matching with the right hand side or not. Okay. So used to return all the records elements of the left hand side collection and matching the elements from the right hand side of the collection. This in link to achieve left join behavior is mandatory to use into keyword and default empty method. We saw that yesterday. So if you want to enable left join behavior in your link, not in SQL, you have to use these two keywords. Compulsory.
Yeah.
And the syntax is defined out here. This is basically to get all the elements from the collection, matching the elements from the right hand collection. So you can see this is an object employee joining with object department ID on what? On condition this is equal to department ID into employee department from ed in employee department dot default empty. Default or empty it is. Okay. If we
Mm.
have no elements in a collection, this will be by default, the result will be 0. Okay.
Good.
If you have null values, it will return empty. That is how default empty works. So you can see that we have used a default m2 and into keyword. And then give the employee name and department name is equal to ed. Now this is a ternary operation.
Right.
That's a ternary operation. So if the condition matches, it is equal to Boolean true, then no department will be thrown out. Okay, and if it is Boolean false, then department name will be thrown out. That's what the ternary operator does. The ternary operator basically is used with a question mark and a colon sign. So this means that if it is equal to null, okay, and it is true, Boolean true, this will be thrown out. If this is Boolean false, this part will be thrown out after colon.
Right.
So from other syntax, we used into and default empty methods to implement the left outer join to get the elements from these two objects collection. So we'll see an example of it. That is how we can understand it better. So let's see an example of left outer join. Left join, this is one. Okay, so you have again these two classes, department class and employee class. Common property is department ID returns integer. Department has two properties, department ID and department name. Department returns string, department ID returns integer. This has three properties, get and set properties. Employee ID returns integer, name returns string, and department ID returns int. So this is the common property between these two classes, and that is where the join will happen. Okay, let's go. Create an object. You can see this. Create an object of the list of departments, and I have created three objects with department class. I'm passing on setting the values. Department ID 1, 2, and 3. Department name software, finance, and health. Then the list of employees. I've created 5 employee objects. Employee IDs are different, but department IDs can be common between the employees. Department ID 1 belongs to software, and 2 people are out here. Department ID 2 is belonging to finance, 2 people belongs to there. My other side doesn't have any department. All right. Now this is where we are using and from this particular example, I've written out here, we're getting the elements from object employee 1 here and object department 1. Okay, collections by using the left outer join in link. And here we have specified the conditions to check if there is a department for the employees or not. Okay. So there is a department from the employees or not. We have specified this condition to check. Okay. In case if the department is not mapped, it will take no department from the condition. Okay, if you look at, if there's no department, if this is matching, that means this is true, no department will be thrown out. else department name will be thrown out. Okay, so this is department name property which will get value from this assignment. The assignment here is a ternary operation. If the value of ed is equal to null, so what is ternary operation? I hope you know that. This is just to remove the if else statement. So if ed is equal to null and it is boolean true, print out no department. If it is false, print out the department name. That is what it is doing. So it's a left outer join. So you're joining object emp1 with object emp2 on department id is present in the employee list as well as from the department list into employee department. So I'm basically trying to understand that the condition has to be made that the person should have a department. That's what it's given out to check if there is a department with employee into employee department.
Okay.
Okay, and that's basically a condition to check if the person has or the employee has a department or not. From ed in this object, is it empty or not? It is default or empty or not? And if it is default or empty, okay, then obviously, then basically give the employee name, tell me that this condition is met or not. So this result will contain only names of those employee which will basically belong to a particular department. Left outer join. So this is the object in